All right, we are back here on the podcast talking some Knicks basketball as they have moved on. A little stressful, but they got past Detroit. Now they are getting ready for a Boston Celtics team that swept them in the regular season in the second round here. The real test for this Knicks team begins, and we bring in one of the great guests of this podcast, one of the co-hosts of the Sorry to Interrupt podcast, Tom Bocchino is here with us. Tom, welcome back. How are you?
Pleasure to be here, man, and thank you for having me. Yeah, after game four, I was feeling like we were going to take this in five. Maybe we thought that game three was a bit of an aberration. And then game five happened, and I'm pulling my hair out, just scared shitless about this Knicks team, man. Just so outside of Brunson, just so inconsistent, so frustrating. But at the end of the day, personally, my expectations for the season realistically have been met. And then essentially anything from here on out is going to be gravy because we're playing the reigning champs, the Boston Celtics. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, I mean, think about this one here. I mean, on the last time I did a Knicks pod, Chris Percy Ironing was here. He said Knicks in six. I don't think
Hell of a call.
I don't think we expected this to be the way Knicks win in six because if you watched that series and you saw the Knicks played, there was a realistic chance that, if the Pistons don't blow a lead and there's a foul called on Hart in game four, the Knicks lose in five.
100%. And there was also a great chance that the Knicks was going to go seven and the Knicks were ultimately going to fall in seven. I think if this team was a more experienced basketball team, that being the Detroit Pistons, and they weren't so young and this was their first run and they had more playoff experience, I think this could have gone seven. If not, the Knicks could have just lost this outright because a lot of their mistakes were not lack of skill or talent. It was just they made a lot of boneheaded decisions that young teams that have never been there before have made. And I know JB Vickerstaff was a head coach before with Cleveland and whatnot, but he's still a young coach as well. And I think the Knicks. I mean, you'll probably end up making me talk about Tibbs. I really don't want to, but I think the Knicks got lucky with due to the inexperience of that team, and that's really why they're moving on.
Oh, 100%. Because I feel like you look at this series here. I mean, like, I think Chris Percy said it best that the Knicks should have out-talented the Pistons in this series, which
A
did
thousand
happen,
percent,
did happen to a degree. But if Jalen Brunson is not on this team, like, they are not
bro.
serious.
When Jalen Brunson goes out of the game, every time you look at Jalen Brunson going out of the game, it is, I don't care if it's Karl Anthony Towns, who's like a 5, 6 time All Star, OG Anunoby, Bridges, there's such a deer in the headlights look. It's unbelievable. And I held out hope that that wouldn't be there because of the fact that they had that about 3 to 4 week span where Brunson was out and OG and Mikal Bridges were averaging about 22 points a game a pop. So you're sitting here thinking, okay, at least they know that they can control the offense when Brunson's out. And then he gets hurt in what was that, game four, I believe?
Yeah, it was
Before
four.
he came back and
Yeah,
was absolutely electric. And they looked like a high school JV team out there. And Tibbs looked like a high school JV coach.
yeah, that sequence at the end of game four was the frustrating thing. It's like both he and Hart get hurt, and then they've only one timeout left. And you see him at the scores table just sitting there waiting to go in. And no
Oh my
percentage
God, dude.
percentage wise, I think by the book, it's correct to wait until it's like you keep as many timeouts as you have
This
scores.
is not that, yeah, but this is Jalen Brunson, my man, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the book says that he played correctly. You
yeah.
look at the situation, like when you have Campaign and McBride out there, neither of them is doing a thing, and like the Pistons doing whatever they want. I think you have to be a little more flexible that time out there.
100% agree. And I think Tibbs has done a really shaky job managing not only his timeouts, but also his challenges. If you looked at game six, he challenged a play that, in my opinion, had a 10% chance of being overturned. It was a foul call where I believe a Pistons player originally fouled the Knicks player, and then the Knicks player threw him to the ground. I think it was, I forgot what player it was, but it's like we can't be having a challenge, burning your challenge and a timeout there. It's like not using timeouts when timeouts are desperately needed, and then we're throwing challenges and timeouts away like it's nothing to the point where it's like his substitutions have been all over the place. Like he's honestly looked manic to me.
Yeah, I think like this part of this also, I think like he's frustrated by like the rotation that he has available to him because
He's had it all year though. Like this is not new.
I know it's not new. I'm saying it's still like he still acts like it's like he's bothered the fact that he can't just run his 5 stars after
You,
45 minutes a game.
I know, but it's like, bro, you know the playoffs. You know you know Cat. We said this when we got Cat. That's what drives me up a wall. Cat had two good games, one mediocre game, and two, what was it, brutal games, right? We knew that was coming, and we're still pulling our hair out. We said that when he got traded. You know what personnel you have. We are in May right now. You should know what team you have. That is not an excuse.
Yeah, at the same time, I mean, there's something also they could have prevented the regular season because his opportunities they had to, develop
Oh,
guys
dude.
as bench options. Like
A
even Chris Persianen said last week, he's like, I don't nobody everybody wants the rookies. You don't need the rookies. You have guys on your bench who have experience and you
a
can
a
use them
hundred
in
percent.
and they don't use them.
I couldn't agree with Chris more. And Sean said it on the pod all the time where it'd be like, no, he has to play his starters to win. And in certain games, I agree with that. But don't tell me in games when you're playing the Hornets and you're up 30 in the third quarter that you got to run the start because I'm looking at the box score and it's still like Jalen Brunson played 37 minutes or whatever. And it's like, we're up 30. There's got to be at least 20 games this year where the Knicks were up 30 in the third quarter or 20 in the third quarter and he could have played the bench unit yet he stuck with the starters. And but you know what? This is like how can we be surprised and how can we be upset as Knicks fans? This is Tibbs' MO. He did it in Chicago, he did it in Minnesota, and he's still doing it in New York. He is not the guy that is going to get this team over the top. He is not a guy that is going to develop players like the Boston Celtics did last year, like a Peyton Pritchard or a Derek White when they got him. Guys that are going to come off the bench and give you something, or Derek Wright being a starter and give you something when somebody else is in trouble. They never had that opportunity in those games.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I feel like obviously I think this series we'll get to in a minute. The Boston series is gonna think it play a big role, at least the perception of Tibbs' future. But the way I look at it here is like if they do come out, they get waxed again, and it's a best of gentlemen sweep here, you gotta at least have the conversation because I mean, look at, for example, at Cleveland, where like they were perennial second round eggs under JD Bickerstaff. Kenny Atkinson comes in and like they revolutionize the offense, they build around Evan Mobley, they're have one of the best, most efficient offenses in NBA history. And the Knicks right now is either running without Wall or Thibodeau again, where like they just do not have the ability to, like get past the second round because like either their starters are dead or injured, playing so many minutes. They have no bench that he doesn't trust anybody outside of starters.
Yeah, because the guys that aren't the starters have played 4 minutes a game for the entire season,
Yeah.
and they can't, they don't have the time to shake the rust off. And I completely agree with you. I think that Tibbs and I mean I don't really know. You gave up what it was a 5 first round picks for Brunson. Let's put that over here. The trade's over with. But not Brunson, but Bridges. Like we got to have a serious conversation about Tibbs and Bridges. And look, Tibbs isn't booty. He's not a bad coach. It's just like you said with Bickerstaff. We may be at a point now where we're capped out with where Tibbs can get these guys just because of his coaching style. He's not going to change.
Yeah, he's not going to change at all here. And I'm glad you brought Bridges up because the Bridges thing is also, I think, a very important thing here because
I think Bridges saved face and saved his season with game 6, by the way.
yeah,
He
Bridges
was excellent.
he was excellent in game 6 here, but like the thing I think is going to hang over forever is those 5 first round picks that they gave up to get him
A
here.
100%.
Because
Because for him, it's like, dude, you can't be this much of an in and out guy. You can't be 6 points a game or whatever he was in the playoffs and then have a couple 20-point games when you're this inconsistent defensively. I'm willing to give OG Anunoby a pass because he was constantly defending their best player and one of the toughest players in the league to defend in Cade Cunningham. So I know how much energy had to be expanded there. But the defensive inconsistency combined with the offensive inconsistency of Mikal Bridges, it was just unbelievable. Like what this guy turned into. It's like the second Brunson. First of all, these guys were teammates forever. They played at Villanova. You should know how to play with this guy. And I understand that Brunson's a bit ball dominant, but like this guy, like this stand in the corner thing is just not working for us.
yeah, I mean, for what you get for Bridges here, like you would expect like more
To him to be the
offensive,
third best player on the team.
yeah, more offensive involvement, him to actually go to the rim more than he does. Like he does
Yep.
he plays like very passively on offense because like feels like he's had that experience in Brooklyn where he was sort of expected to be the dominant guy, and then he got here where he sees runs and guys, oh cool, I don't have to do too much. Like whereas you need to
But
do
he had it wasn't even like it was a 5 game sample size. He had a good 20 game sample size where he was averaging 22 a game.
yeah. It feels like he defers too much though when like everybody's there.
1000%. And you hang your hat on the fact that maybe with a full summer, this team's going to be able to integrate itself and figure a few things out on the offensive end. But we're going to talk about this series next, and I've got a trade idea that's real tantalizing for the Knicks to go out and get somebody and just completely erase this Bridges thing.
Yeah, I think we could talk about Bridges like that trade. And you brought the next series up here, which is Boston. With Boston having everybody healthy, we saw that they put the tweet out on Sunday like no injuries to report. Everyone's available for this series here. And if you're the Knicks,
Yep.
very bad news because like three times they had everybody, they ran Knicks off the floor because the constant switching. The Knicks couldn't keep up. They picked
Yep.
Towns and Brunson defensively. They got open threes all over the place. Like this could be nightmare fuel for the Knicks in this series if they learn nothing over the course of the regular season. I know that fourth game was close and they had a chance to win it, but like the Celtics sat two guys out. We're not really going balls to the walls until the end of the game.
Now, let's be real here, man. The Knicks are not. I am a Knicks fan through and through, die hard, but like I'm not going to come on this podcast and be a fanboy. The Knicks are not in the same class as the Boston Celtics,
No,
point
they're
blank,
not.
period. It's like I believe Chris said, because I listened to that podcast. I don't remember if he said Tatum or Brown, but he said one of those two players could not play in this series and the Celtics could still win it. And I'm 100% behind him on that. I fully believe that.
It was Brown with the knee injury. He said Brown's to play fourth quarters.
Yeah, if honestly, I'm of the belief that if they disrespected the Knicks to the point where they said Brown is sitting this series out to get healthy for the next one, I would take the Celtics in 6 instead of the 5 that I'm going to take them in.
Yeah, because I think to me, the upside for the Knicks is gentleman sweep. I think there's a chance they get outright swept.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. I just think. I mean, everybody says, "Oh, like the Knicks are built to compete." They went out to try and compete with the Celtics. The Celtics are head and shoulders better than them, and it's a bad matchup for the Knicks. Not just because of the size and the personnel that they have. They just have so much more talent than the Knicks, and they also play their bench. And when they're up 30, they bring in guys like a Peyton Pritchard, or they give guys rest in order to expand that bench, and that's going to help them further on in the playoffs. But they are not going to need that. The way that the Celtics defend Jalen Brunson, watching some tape on it is special stuff because you watch them defend Jalen Brunson. Besides the fact that they have a million guys that they can throw at him between Derek White and Drew Holiday, Tatum, Brown, go down the list, a bunch of guys off the bench as well. The other thing that they do is Jalen Brunson thrives off of contact, and they play tight defense on him. But if you watch, they make it a point not to touch him, and it frustrates the hell out of Brunson because all he's trying to do is come in with that herky jerk, which I love, and I think it is excellent. And people shit on him, but guess what? That's what makes him great. He's a 5'9". Everybody says he's listed at 6 foot or whatever. He's a 5'10" point guard with not great speed and not great athleticism, and he's able to average damn near 30 points in the league because of his herky jerky game. But the way the Celtics are going to defend him, they are going to cancel out that, and they are going to save themselves a lot of fouls because of their defensive versatility and the way that this team has figured out how to defend him.
Yeah, plus on the other end of the floor too, like here, like yes,
Oh, he's going to be in the blender.
yeah, because Knicks have three guys who are good defenders in practice, and the three wings with Hart, Bridges, and Anunoby. But like Towns and Brunson are both bad defenders, and the Celtics can
Bad.
switch everywhere, and they always seem to get one of those two guys in
And
a
then what happens when you bring in Mitch Robinson for defensive help? You get Hack a Mitch.
yeah, you hack a Mitch, and and you're playing 4-on-5 on the offensive end of the floor.
1000%. And Karl Anthony Towns, he is a good help defender and he's a solid rim protector. But the problem is that he makes so many stupid fucking fouls that when it comes to crunch time in the fourth quarter, half the time he can't even truly protect the rim because he's protecting his fouls.
Yeah, yeah, because
So,
Yeah, it's a big issue with this series here, and like we saw it here, like, whether like they have the great top six, and even still, like there were games where like Peyton Pritchard was going off against the Knicks, like you have
I
random
mean,
guys getting open for threes, like they're because the Celtics take so many threes and they switch so often, the Knicks can't keep up.
no, they can't. And I mean, honestly, people say, oh, the Knicks might have the best starting five in basketball, and that's an argument to be had, but I don't care because, again, we've seen it with the amount of playing time and the players breaking down. The Celtics just have like head and shoulders more talent than this Knicks team, top to bottom.
Yeah, I think the way I look at this series and next year is like, if you want to convince me that this is the core and this is the coach that
It's got
can,
to go six
it's
at
got
least.
you have to be six. You can't be getting run out of the floor every other game. Like you have to be.
Yes, yes. It cannot be like it can't be one of those 6 game series where the point differential is like, okay, you won your 2 games by 2 points, and then the Celtics blew you out in the other four by like 20.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like these need to be like this can't be in the middle of third quarter. You're down 25, like the first three games of the season series were.
I agree 100%. And my thing that I'm interested to see in the offseason is if the front office is as sour on Tibbs as the fan base is.
Yes, that's a very interesting question.
Because ever since I don't know a couple of years back when Dolan brought in these Kentucky guys, he's really taken a step back, and now we're gonna see whether or not they truly believe that Tibbs is the guy. I've already said it. I don't think he is, but my opinion doesn't fucking matter right now.
No, it doesn't. What matters is what Leon Rose thinks and whether Dolan gets mad enough if he gets embarrassed that he just says you have to fire him. That's also another possibility too, because Dolan's kind of stay out of the way for a little bit. And like if he sees this big investment he made where he spent all this money, he's in the luxury tax, they gave up all their assets, and this is a look like a second round at best team, like he's not gonna be thrilled.
So you and I both can agree Knicks in five, right? That's our opinion.
Oh, for 100%.
So talking off season, can I give you my wish?
Sure.
All right. So aside from the Tibbs thing, which is up in the air, again, we just mentioned the front office is really going to be the decision maker on that. When it comes to Bridges, I am not opposed um, if Phoenix is having a hard time with Houston, if the Knicks can call and offer a Bridges and a poopy pick or whatever, or another player for Kevin Durant for 2 years, I'm taking that every day and twice on Sunday. I don't care if it's an older Kevin Durant and he's got injury issues and whatnot. I think the Knicks would be able to well, with Tibbs, I don't know, but I think they'd be able to rest him a little bit more just by default, which I think might actually be better for the Knicks and force Tibbs to try and play other guys. But also, it gets you a guy who's a bona fide stud for 2 years. And that's something that I think would truly move the needle and put the Knicks, as long as he can stay healthy, obviously, into that Celtics and Cavs conversation.
Yeah, I think the challenge with that is also that Durant, remember, will control his destination in this process, and like he's had opportunities to come here before and has refused. So like I don't think this like I know they're much better now than they were when he was looking the last few times, but like I don't see him wanting to go. Remember, he was like dead set on like potentially like Miami, Golden State, and like he didn't get his wish.
Yeah, he didn't. But then again, now the pool of teams that can trade for him has shrunk by two, Miami and Golden State. So, it's also going to be a combination of desperation because you look at Milwaukee in the offseason and whatnot. And if Giannis asks out, because Milwaukee is in one of the worst situations as a team over the next 5 years of any team. And I'm not saying the Knicks can go out and get Giannis. They don't have the pieces. But if Houston decides, all right, Giannis is younger and a better player right now than Kevin Durant, then it's kind of a game of musical chairs for Kevin Durant, and we may be the only one with the seat left.
Yeah, I think the challenge though with this situation is like because they decided to empty the pool, the all their chips on the table for Bridges, and they trade away two of their movable contracts in Randall and DiVincenzo for Cat. Like you're looking at this basically like the star has to basically say, "I'm only going here, make it work." I think for this because the next if it's an open bid, they're not winning an open bidding in some of these other teams.
No, they're not. That's the thing is that Kevin Durant has to want to come here, which I've read and whatnot that he has, I guess, warmed up to the idea of coming to the Knicks, but again, he's such a tough guy to tell because for all accounts, a week before the Jimmy Butler trade happened, where everybody was basically putting Durant in Golden State, and then he's the one who came out and said he didn't want to go in season. So that guy I'm not going to pretend sit here and predict what he's going to do.
Yeah, so I think that's sort of the Knicks angle here. I think like we're agreeing here. Like if this series they're competitive, okay, we're fine.
Yeah,
Like we can see, okay, maybe you tweak the bench a little bit, maybe you get another secondary ball handler, like you're feeling better about it. But I think like if this is a continuation of the regular season, again, you need to look into like what are we going to do here because we cannot end up just spending all this money and being a second round max team.
yeah, and it's like really a second round max team because then if you look at it next year and all things remain the same. I mean, shit, another year with the Pistons more experienced, we might lose that series. Thompson more experienced, figuring out how to score a little bit more, combined with that defense. Where when he was in the game, like he had spurts where he shut Brunson down, period, without fouling. It was him and his brother are two of the best defenders I've seen since like Scottie Pippen. I mean, so it's like if we don't make any moves, I think we're gonna go backwards.
Yeah. Because that's also don't forget too, Indiana's getting better
Yeah.
every year they play together. You have the Sixers are probably gonna bounce back assuming everybody's healthy again, and maybe they can
Yeah,
pick from the
Sixers. I don't know.
they're in the mix if they can get and be on the floor.
Yeah, yeah, that might be the biggest if of all time, but yeah, if they can get Embiid on the floor.
Yeah, and I think in terms of like that's the Knicks situation here. But I think quickly go around the rest of the bracket. Just quick thoughts on the other series here, because obviously like we saw game one of the Cavs Pacers series play out. Indiana wins game one as we're recording here. So what do you think? What are you watching for in this series?
This series for me, it's just a matter of can the Cavs buckle down defensively because offensively, I'd probably say they're about even. The Cavs are just should be significantly better defensively. Obviously, they didn't take this first game, so we're just going to have to see that the adjustments that they make. I just think that they're just going to have to continue to throw multiple different looks at Halliburton, and they're going to have to start picking him up, not at the half court line, but like you cannot let him have a head of steam towards the basket and be wide open at the 3 point line. They need to come up a little further on defense, but Atkinson's a hell of a coach, and I think that they're going to win that series in six.
Yeah, I think I would still bet Cavs Boston like what you did before the playoffs. Like if that doesn't happen, something strange has happened in my opinion.
Yeah, and somebody's either getting traded or fired, most likely.
Yeah. In the West, we have Thunder Nuggets. The Nuggets surprisingly pull out that series against the Clippers. Like I thought for sure, like oh, the
I
Clippers.
mean, can we just talk about the Clippers real quick?
Sure.
Um, I mean, James Harden, like, why did the Clippers even come out for the second half? Why did you waste my time on the television? Like, they should be ashamed of themselves for that second half. It was legitimately embarrassing. Like Denver is hanging on by a thread. Joker is dead. He is a dead man out there, and he is dragging his team. James Harden, I mean, I was talking to Sean earlier today. We might on our Instagram have to put up a collage of all the game sevens over the years with James Harden like sitting like this on the bench and
Yep.
just be like, name the year
Yeah.
because it's happened so often. Like because a lot of people, including myself, were really high on the Clippers this year, and it's like, when are we going to stop falling for this James Harden stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. I know Chris Persiano in the last podcast. He's like, yeah, Clippers could be my sleeper to go to the NBA Finals.
And I was right there with him too because of the Kawhi factor and that bench and Zubac being an All NBA type player. But then I guess we all just forgot that Harden does what he does in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's 7 points last night.
Yeah. Yeah. He really shrinks in the biggest spots.
No, and now it's. I mean, I'm never. We can't do it again. We can't be doing that again. But moving on to the series that's actually happening. Look, since about the third quarter of the NBA season, I've basically said that the Thunder are going to lose 2 games in the entire playoffs, and we're all going to look back at them and we're going to be like, how did we not see it coming? A la the 2015 Warriors, and they're going to go on a hell of a run here. And I'm calling it. I'm not saying that SGA is Jordan, but we might have a Jordan Pippen situation in OKC with Grant and SGA.
Yeah, that team is terrifying. Like I mean, like they got the highest like highest score margin in NBA history.
I mean, dude, that's another team where I said if SGA, Jalen Green, and take another high minutes player off of that team didn't play this series, I think they still smoke Memphis.
Yeah, yeah, because
Like that team has so much talent. It's crazy. And there's never been a team that's been this talented in the present and been more set up for the next 6 to 7 years in any sport ever.
yeah, really stacked team. And like you look
Since like the 1920s Yankees.
at maybe I mean like they got a Denver team. It's basically like no, like Jokic is like they're one of the few teams that can like actually slow Jokic down because they have Hartenstein and
Multiple bigs to throw at him and piss him off. They got a lot of length. Yeah, 100%. And I just think like Jamal Murray, although he looked good in game 7 and he has looked decent in spurts, I think that they're going to put the clamps on him. I think Porter is going to be non-existent. Porter's been so inconsistent, and I just think they're gonna put their fourth defender on him, and he's absolutely gonna shut them down, and they're not gonna know what to do. I'm gonna take. I mean, shit. I said that they were only gonna lose 2 games in the playoffs. So I might up it to 3 and just say that they're gonna win in 5 out of pure respect to the greatest player in basketball right now, Joker.
yeah. So Jalen sweep.
Gentlemen's sweep, but like you said with the Knicks, keep your eyes out for a true sweep on this one.
Yeah, I think for sure here in the last series, we're still waiting to see what happens here because obviously we said the Rockets Warriors game 7 is being played as we go right
What's
now.
the score? Let me take a peek.
16-13 Warriors in the middle of the first quarter.
Okay.
And yeah, the Timberwolves waiting on the other end of the bracket here. So like it's for me, which of these teams getting through would make this a better series in your opinion?
Uh, I think Golden State, just because I love Houston and I think that they're incredible defensively, but they don't have a true closer. They don't have like there's a lot of times you can see in their offense where it's just kind of looking at each other and they don't have a guy like this is why they kind of want to go out and get a Giannis or a Kevin Durant where it's like nothing's going right now. I'm gonna go get us a bucket. Okay. And I just don't think that they have the playoff experience, which is why I think when this final buzzer sounds, I think that Golden State's going to come out with it. And plus, I'm a sucker for Steph. Like, just give me him as long as you can.
Yeah, you got Steph and playoff Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better.
Yeah, and that would be fun if you get like Jimmy Butler against the Wolves and like the Ant Steph showdown with Ant not wanting to be the face of the league and Steph being the face of the league right now.
Yep.
So
And then him vaporizing 2 legends in 2 series in a row with LeBron. And, from that Lakers series, like, I mean, for me, I think the Lakers quit at the end there, but also Luka's done. LeBron's 40. That's one of those ones where I'm kind of banging my head against the wall, like, damn, I should have seen this coming and been more convicted on the Wolves.
yeah, and thinking of the Wolves, they still do get to the Western Conference Finals. Like the amount of like frustration from the Knicks fan base that Julius Randle's gonna be in conference finals ahead of them is gonna be insane.
I mean, listen, ever since I got to give Julius Randle credit where credit's due. Ever since he came back from that injury just after the All-Star break, he has been excellent for that team. He's been everything they needed and more. A real presence inside, and he's been way more non-black holy. I don't really know how to say that in any other way, but he just hasn't been as much of a black hole. He's been really good for them, and I'm pissed about it.
Yeah, he's not like he was with the Knicks, where like the offense needed to stop when he got the basketball.
I think that was more of just the like, is Jalen, I mean, Jalen is the guy, and I'm in love with that man. But for him, he probably was like, is Jalen Brunson really going to be the guy? And then it's like, you look at Ant Edwards, who is a carbon copy of you know who, and it's like, okay, there's no denying that this guy's the man, So he kind of found his place on that team.
Yeah, and I think like playing him next to Gobert also like masked a lot of the defensive issues that he has on that end.
100%. And also it gives him a chance when Gobert and him are in to just really dominate the ball because Gobert is just a lob threat. Although he had the game of his life against the Lakers that last game.
I mean, 27 and 24 is insane for a closeout game, but that's
I was happy for him just because like he's got to be, I don't know if they do a poll, but like he's got to be at least top 5 if not number 1 most hated players in the NBA. So I thought that was an awesome like little fuck you.
Yeah, it's also the Lakers might have been the smallest team in the history of mankind, and that
Yeah. I mean, seriously, like, what the hell did Williams have wrong with him? And I'm not saying that Marcus Williams could have, like, been the difference in this series, but what was wrong with him in his physical for you guys to go with Jackson Hayes as your best center?
yeah, I mean to the point like where they just kept connecting, you got guys
Well,
up.
what were you keeping him for? You knew he wasn't going to touch the ball. Like, even if even if Williams shows up and he only has one leg somehow, his leg got cut off on the plane. At least that leg's 7 feet tall,
Yeah, yeah, it's
you
like
know?
yeah, it's like something like where you watch this team, like yes, they have Luca now, and Luca's gonna keep them like relevant for a while, but like, and if they can't find any sort of like interior presence here, they're gonna waste the last LeBron years.
No, I don't know, man. I mean, listen, it's the Lakers, and after this Luka trade and everything they've done in their past history, you can't say never. But like, what big men are they getting?
I don't know, somebody like because you thought that like
Maybe a Clint Capella or something could help them out. Like, really, just truly a dunker spot and a rim protector. But like, outside of that, they don't really have much to give out. They have
no,
one pick left to give.
yeah, and like they are very lucky that they got handed Luca on a silver platter because like that team's like was gonna run into a lot of issues like in terms of like
Oh, it's sickening. It's disgusting that they got Luca. And it's like the kid that gets, he's it's the rich kid that gets like 6 DUIs in high school and then you run into him after and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a partner at an investment firm." And it's like, your dad they're the rich kids with the rich daddy is what they are.
yeah, like they're like literally like you could like they're the guy who's like go like I said, they're the rich kid who has everything go their way.
Bro, they fucked post 2010, which is I believe when they won their last championship pre-bubble
Yeah.
with Kobe
Yeah.
and Pau Gasol. They they made every fucking decision that they made was the absolute wrong, dumb, like black and white should have gone the other way with that one. And LeBron still just says, "Yeah, I want to live in LA, so I'm gonna go here." And then they pull off this Luca deal, and they pull off the AD deal. Like, fuck that, dude. Fuck them.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be interesting to see what they end up doing in the offseason here. And last thing here, we have a draft lottery coming up here. Do you want to shoot your shot and say who ends up winning the Cooper Flag lottery?
Mm. Well, the odds are even for who? Washington.
I'll pull the lottery odds.
Pull them up. Pull them up.
Yeah,
I'm thinking playoffs right now, and you got me thinking lottery.
yeah, because
Well, I'll give you a guess.
the lottery is next week. It's next Monday, not this Monday. This Monday's the NHL lottery. Which, by the way, did you hear the NHL is doing their lottery live?
Is that?
They're actually showing you the ping pong ball draw live.
Well, hey, listen. There won't. I guess we could say there won't be anything nefarious going on then.
The NBA should also do this. There's no reason.
No, but don't you like the little rumors, like the frozen envelope of the Ewing pick? Like, it's kind of cool, you
They're gonna
know?
they're gonna find any way to say that it was rigged. Even you show them the draw, they're gonna say, "Oh, they weighed the balls so that like."
Yeah, that's true. We could always throw a conspiracy theory in there. All right, let me hear these odds.
All right, so I got the list pulled up. We're gonna share it on our screen on the YouTube version again. Mike Phillips on YouTube here. So the teams with the three best odds: Utah, Washington, and Charlotte all at 14%. New Orleans 12.5%. Philly is 10.5%, and that pick goes to the Thunder if it goes outside the top.
Above 6, yeah.
Brooklyn
Well,
9%, Toronto 7.5%, San Antonio 6, Phoenix pick at 3.8%. Portland, Dallas, Chicago, Sacramento is probably going to
imagine Phoenix gets that pick. Holy moly. Um, Well, I'm not going to go with like a super low odd team. I am going to really root for Philly to get past that 6 pick because I just want them to be completely fucked for all the dumb shit that they did. Um,
you want the Thunder to get that pick.
yeah, yeah, no, of course. I do want the Thunder to get the Philly pick so it's outside of the top 6. I think that would be hilarious and the rich would just get richer. It would be an incredible story. And I hate Philly. I mean, who doesn't? Um, So I'm gonna go with a team that's gonna piss everybody off because this seems to always happen with the lottery. If you don't remember a couple of years ago, I think it was like 2 years apart. that Cleveland got the number one overall pick and they picked like Anthony Bennett with the first one or something and Andrew Wiggins with the second. Um,
they had like 3 in 5 years. They had
yeah,
Kyrie.
because they got Kyrie too.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm going to go with the New Orleans Pelicans here because, they have the Zion pick. They have a couple other high lottery picks. So that'll really piss off like the teams above them that haven't had, like Washington. Who was it? Washington had a top pick, the second pick last year in a poop draft. Like
Yep.
it'll be hilarious for the teams that never get these high picks that always should have them to just keep going in a shitty in the best draft we've had in years. So it's going to be New Orleans for me is going to have Cooper Flag.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one. Like, I think it's all. I mean, that I will say the last like 5 or 6 years, like it's one of those teams with the top 3 odds has gotten the pick. So I think the trend like will continue.
Okay, so you think it's going to be between Charlotte, Washington, and Utah. If I'm going to go with that, I'm going to go with Charlotte because they had the LaMelo pick like years ago, that top two pick, and it just seems like the teams that pick in the early in the draft always get the higher picks.
Yeah, you know what pissed a lot of people off in the NBA, if who got this pick besides Philly, which is obvious, they would be not be happy if Philly got this pick.
Brooklyn?
San Antonio, they get Wemby
Oh, well, yeah,
Flag.
obviously. Could you imagine that? Oh my God. Pack it in. It'll be they'll have to get rid of conferences and just say, all right, it's going to be OKC San Antonio every year.
Yeah, because imagine you put Wemby and Cooper Flag on the same team with like
With
Castle.
Steph Castle, oh my God. And Fox is on that team too, just a point guard to run it all. Oh my God. Yeah, let's pray for that. Let's
Yeah,
pray for not that.
yeah. The one like I think Brooklyn going into the year wanted him badly, but like
They
unfortunately,
fucked up their tank so bad.
Jordy's too good a coach.
Which you know what, and I said this to Sean on our pod a million times. Like it's a blessing in disguise. They still are going to get a really good pick, and this draft is extremely deep, so they'll still get a great player, and now they have a coach.
Yeah, they're gonna get a rotation player with that pick. They're not gonna get
Hmm.
like unless they end up in the top 3 and get like either not if either get really lucky and get Flag or they get like one of the Rutgers kids. Like I think they could be in still gonna get a guy who Fernandez will make a solid rotation player for them going forward.
Anybody that they pick, Fernandez is going to make them a guy that plays some minutes, and he's going to play 10 years in the league.
Yeah. Plus the crazy thing, I think they have like 4 1s this year, which means that they are. If Giannis says I want to go to Brooklyn, they have everything they need to go do it.
They do, but then again, it's like, think about it. OKC has all these super duper sexy picks. Like they have a lot of teams that are going to be picking high in the lottery. Let's say they win this Philly pick, so they have the number 7 pick to go with everything. What happens if they call up Charlotte and say, "Listen, Cooper Flag, generational player, but he's not gonna rebuild your whole team. What happens if we give you 5 of these unprotected picks that all could turn into the number one pick, or 3 of them, or whatever they have for this number one pick, and then they get Cooper Flag?
Yeah. Yeah, you can imagine that and say, "Oh, we'll give you this a couple of our young players you can build with because like they have
Yeah,
so many guys."
I know. It like and this like Pressey is such a great GM, and everybody's saying like, what's he going to do with all these picks? At some point, this has he has to have a plan for these, and they're going to come to a head, and it's going to be one of those things that goes across the ticker, and it's going to be like a mind explosion.
Yeah, it's gonna be something like this. Like it might make whenever like Presti cashes in all those picks, it might make Luka the Lakers look like a ripple, like a little pebble.
No doubt about it. The only thing that's really going to hold Pressey back from just completely making the NBA go crazy is the second apron and the hard cap.
Yeah,
That's it.
because they haven't even really paid anybody yet either. Because they're gonna start having to pay people. That's the other challenge.
Well, no, they are, but then again, like you got guys like a Lou Dort. You're gonna hold on to your SGAs, your Williams, and your Chets, but like a guy like Lou Dort, it's like, okay, cool. Well, we have, 7. We have Alex Caruso and 7 other guys, not as good as you, but that are 90% of you. So we can just let you walk.
Yeah, they can say like Lou Dort's great. Like somebody else can pay him. We'll develop the next Lou Dort.
Exactly, exactly. Because Lou Dort was an undrafted free agent that they just plucked, I believe.
Yeah, and it's like it's something for sure. Like Nick fans are also watching this too. You can bet your bottom dollar that like they're going to decline Hartenstein's team option next year. Like they're not going to pay him that money, and they have to keep their own guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you got to keep an eye out for because Hartenstein, and we said it when it happened, like you could only keep one or two. You could only keep it was basically Anunoby or Hartenstein. And we knew when Hartenstein left, or at least I did, that that was going to be a major problem for the Knicks.
Yeah, amplified by the fact that Robinson missed like 3 quarters of the season.
It did, but at the same time, it's like, are we surprised? We knew, like, you might as well. He's one of those guys. I call him like a pencil in guy. Pencil him in for 35, 40 missed games every year.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. The Knicks got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, they do have a lot of work to do. We'll see, like, if they able to keep this series with the Celtics competitive. And Tom, if they somehow win this series, we will be back
Oh God.
and get ready for a conference finals. But I have,
Oh my God. You know, that's how little chances that they have to win this series in both of our eyes. The fact that we're about to wrap this pod and this is the first time we even brought up the possibility of them winning.
yeah, like if it somehow happens, we'll reconvene and get ready for a
Uh,
conference finals. But like, I think like we have a better chance of
I'll
like,
if we come back, I'll be 10 feet higher because I'll be floating. I'll be levitating above this desk if the Knicks beat the Celtics.
yeah, I think you certainly will here. And Tom, thanks for all
Yes.
the time. Really appreciate it. People want you guys over on the Sorry to Interrupt podcast. I'm going to do that.
All right, so follow us on TikTok at sorry_sports, same as Instagram, Twitter, sorry sports, and then it is the Sorry to Interrupt podcast on all platforms. Mike, you've been on there before. We're going to be having you on again. We always love having you on. And yeah, we're just coming with the action, man. You name a sport, we're pretty much covering it between all the guys we got. So we love it, man.
You got it. Yeah, you guys got a deep bench over there.
We do. A lot of contributors. Sean and I are the main acts, but you know, we got a lot of characters.
Yeah, you have a lot of personalities who will fill in. Yeah, you got a lot of role players.
Exactly. Which is, maybe the Knicks should take notes.
Yeah, you're like the thunder of like the podcasting world.
Wow, that's a compliment I'll take right to the bank. I appreciate that.
Yeah, like, this is for my show is more of like sort of like the one man show, and then I'll bring in different people, sort of like fill in the gaps.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, man, I'm always happy to come on. I love chopping it up with you, man. And listen, how are you feeling about your Mets, by the way? How are you feeling about 'em?
I feel good. Like this
I
this
would.
this weekend's annoying because they've been getting no luck this weekend. But like the fact that they are, like have up to the best records in baseball, Juan Soto not giving them much and cup down a couple starting pitchers. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the fact that you guys are not only hanging around, but like you're in damn, you're damn near one of the best teams in baseball, and it feels like you guys are operating at about 72% is pretty awesome.
yeah, and the scary thing is here too, like this has all been with like Pete on like the world's biggest heater and Lindor actually starting hot. When Juan Soto actually gets balls to fall in, he will carry them for about a month and a half.
Yeah, exactly. Because you know that Lindor and Pete are gonna have a cold spell, but you just gotta hope that it coincides with an absolute heater from Juan Soto, which it probably will, because he's the type of guy where it's like, okay, if he gets off to a cold start, the rest of the year he's gonna be sick.
Yeah, it will be six when it happens. So once again, thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it. Hopefully, get you and Sean back on the horn here. Our annual tradition, we do the NBA offseason preview in about a month and a half.
Oh, I can't wait, man. I really can't.